So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, and it is Demetra K podcast. We are not live. I want to say that at the top of the hour. Again, we are not live. We usually tape this amongst ourselves so that we can have a spirited conversation. And so today we're going to be talking about a woman who went to the DR and had a BBL, and then she came back to the States without a kidney. So we're going to have that conversation about BBLs, what's the big deal, no pun intended, and all of that. And then, of course, we're going to continue on with our date night is the game conversation. And we have 4 cards that we are going to be discussing amongst ourselves. So it'll be interesting to hear the answers. I pre-selected the cards, didn't really get a chance to really look at them because I kind of want to be surprised too. But so that's what we're going to get into. And so, Donovan, what say you?
What say me? As I say, welcome to the Demetra K podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're in traffic all across the nation, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do us a favor, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. We are in the midterm election, so it is very, very, very important that you share this on your platform so your relatives and your people can see it. And maybe you might change a few people's minds, because I know it worked when I was doing it and some of my family members. And now they're kind of seeing what I'm talking about, because it's funny, Demetra, you will think that people are not like listening to what you're saying and not paying you any attention in any mind. And they are paying attention, because I get all kinds of videos and things of people saying, well, what about this? And what about that? And I'm thinking, what the hell are they talking about? And I forgot I had talked about that, a while back in the show or something like that. And then if you guys so would like to help to keep the show going, we've got PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, all of those applications there if you so wish to contribute. And don't get me wrong. Not that we have a problem with the kind that rolls, but we would prefer the kind that folds. So, Demetra, this is a very, very serious topic that's going on in the Dominican Republic, because, I am trying to get citizenship there as I go and travel there back and forth. And it is an epidemic. As a matter of fact, the last time I was in the DR, another death took place that's of a young girl getting a BBL, and she had passed away from complications of surgery. So, I think this is something people need to consider and need to hear. So let's get into it.
Absolutely. So again, let's talk about this BBL situation. So a woman by the name of Anita, she took to social media to talk about her friend, who shall remain nameless. She did not give the name. She went to the DR to have a $3,500 procedure, tummy tuck and liposuction, which sounds really cheap for that sort of a procedure. And then when she came back, says that she was experiencing headaches and other things. She went to her doctor and realized that one of her kidneys was removed. Now, some people are probably saying, well, what the hell is a BBL? Well, BBL is a Brazilian butt lift. It's a procedure that's been around for a very long time, and it sounds like it involves a few things. Adding fat to your buttocks. So they do lipo from other parts of your body. And then I guess they put it into your butt and your hips. And then, of course, you can get a tummy tuck. So you get that hourglass look. To me, sometimes it looks like Grimace from McDonald's, the McDonald's character. To me, it does. In some cases, if it's not done right.
The purple character. The purple
character. Grimace. And so we're seeing an uptick of this. Like, I hate even going on Instagram, because I would say probably 80% of the women that I see on there, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, look like they've had the BBL procedure. Some of them are working out and saying, oh, this is how I got this, my butt bigger and things like that. And it's like, nah, sis, you clearly had a BBL. Like, I know there's some people who have muscle butts, but that butt is just a little bit too hard and up in the air. Now, a surgeon by the name of Dr. Miami, who is very wildly popular for doing the BBLs, he makes a lot of money. Once he took to his social media, was like, listen, I know who some of you women are. I have done some of y'all BBLs, and y'all on these apps talking about, I've been in the gym getting this body. And he's like, if it wasn't for patient confidentiality, I'd be busting y'all out. So basically, stop lying to kick it. Is what he's saying. And so we've seen a lot of women. I mean, before it was like exclusive, right? It's for people who had money and people who, really could afford to do that. But now you're seeing it everywhere. last week on Twitter, it was trending. And some woman says, not y'all getting BBLs to push pallets at Amazon. So basically she's saying, y'all not even really doing nothing with the BBLs. Y'all working in warehouses with these BBLs. And she's right, because everywhere I go, and I don't go very many places lately, but it seems like everywhere I go, whether it's Walmart, the gym, the grocery store, anywhere, I'm seeing these BBLs. And it's like, some people might be saying, well, how do you know it's a BBL? It's like, come on now, your legs are that doggone big, like baseball bats, and you got this big giant pumpkin booty sitting on top. It's like, it doesn't look real. And a lot of times, and listen, I'm not trying to, come down on people who have had BBLs, because I don't want to seem like I'm being a jerk, but I'm like, and you paid for that? You wanted that? You wanted that? And the other thing with this lady who went to the DR and got her kidney snatched up, so there's been speculated for a long time that there's organ harvesting going on. And so I guess maybe they figured, well, she's in the DR. She's going to go back home. And by the time she realizes her kidney is gone, it's kind of too late, right? Because you can live with one kidney, but $3,500 for that procedure is cheap. Those procedures can go well into, 20,000 plus. But I know a lot of times people go to different countries like Mexico, the DR, or wherever where it's cheaper. But I'm wondering, why would you want to go get something that's cheaper, especially something like that? And the other thing too is people have this misconception that when you get these BBLs, that you're good for life. I know people who have gotten 2, BBLs already, because I say they've blown through the first one by eating too much, because it's fat replacement or transfers, and so you can eat and gain all that weight back. And so it's like people are taking themselves through those procedures. And I will say this, as Donovan has been into the DR a couple of times, he's been like 3 or 4 times at this point, and probably even more. The time I went, coming back from the airport, or sitting in the airport coming back to the States, I saw a line of women sitting on what you call these donuts, right? And they're in just like agony. They're sitting there. You can tell they're in a lot of pain. And I'm like, I saw that on social media, but to see that in person, and basically what it was those women had just had a BBL procedure. Now, normally when you have a procedure like that, it is very painful, to where they have these, supposed to have these morphine drips, and they got these tubes and stuff hanging out so they can drain all the fluids and all of that. And so they're supposed to be laying up. That's why I said it's really supposed to be for people with money and resources. They're supposed to be laying in a bed for a while, and they have somebody come by and massage them. You're not really supposed to get right on the plane and fly back to the States. But because they're going for $3,500, they probably got to be back at Amazon in a week. They're getting on these planes, and they're suffering through, all the pain and stuff. And so we're going to have this conversation as to why. I mean, I guess I get why, but my problem is, why is it so available? I guess. I don't know. We're going to have that conversation. Donovan, what say you?
Well, I got a couple questions. I took some notes, as we usually do when we have these discussions. And why are you hating, Demetra? Because if we look at you with them drumsticks you got and that little rump shaker that you got in the background, not everybody's blessed to have what you got. They give it to you by your mama, So for those that don't know, Demetra is a natural BBL. It runs in the family there. So in case you guys did not know that, but you were saying like the woman came back and she wasn't aware that she lost her kidneys. Now, isn't one of the symptoms of like kidney failure and something wrong with your kidney is like massive hydration? And some of the things that your kidneys do, it filters a lot of your blood through. So, that would be one of the signs of that: massive hydration, lightheadedness. I mean, you can faint, all kinds of things can happen. Some people can live, a lot of people can live with just one kidney, but then some people can't live with, depending on how your body thing is and stuff like that medically. So, but here's another question I have for you guys that are listening, if you're watching this program right now. And I have to go back to what you were saying as people who are of limited means. I'm not saying they're not poor, but I'm not saying they're rich. They're going to another country to get these procedures. Now, it is a stated fact that the number one health care system in the world is the United States. Am I correct with that? If you can afford it. if you can afford it. I mean, people say, no, it's not if you can afford it. We're talking about what the congressmen get and rich people get. They get the best of the best. And that's the best in the world. Why the hell would I go to another country like the DR, a so-called up-and-coming new world place, to get medical care that is subpar from what the United States would give? Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to say this for me and speaking for myself. If you want to do these procedures and all these things and take these risks, because let's face it, some countries don't have the same standards that we have here in the United States. Again, when I was there and we were there and some of those people had died from a procedure, what kind of ramifications do those doctors get? Are their license suspended? We don't know what that state does to their medical practitioners. In some of these countries, let's say like Haiti, you have traditional voodoo practitioners that's legal there, and people go to them and they do the mixing of the stuff up, and that, it's in their culture, right? And they still do that. But see, the thing is here in the United States is you could be a doctor and then you want to be specialized in a certain plastic procedure. You got boob doctors, you've got eyelid doctors, you've got, whatever doctors, but they go and get a specialized thing. And then if something goes wrong, they have millions and billions of dollars of insurance in case they get sued for malpractice and all these other things, so that your loved ones and yourself might be compensated in case you were scarred up and messed up. I, for the life of me, do not know why our sisters, well, I do know, fellas, it is our fault. We got to take responsibility. These bat wings that these women are wearing, the hair, the nails, the butt, looking like drag queens. I think that's a popular thing now. They're doing that because of us, because that's what we say we like, whatever. And the funny thing is, Demetra, I was talking to a friend of mine that's from the Atlanta, but she's here in the West Coast. And she was talking about how, the girls are big butt, Magic City and all this. We were just talking about clubs and stuff. Now, being from California, big butts aren't really big here. That's not like a popular thing here. That's like in the South, that low hanging fruit type stuff. Here, it's like, so what? Nobody cares. But yeah, ladies, I blame men for making you guys feel the way you guys do in regards to how you have to have a certain appearance. But I've always said, Demetra will tell you, I've always said, I love a woman the way she is and how she is and, and how she's going to be. I don't care for weave. You could be bald headed and still be very, very beautiful. You're beautiful the way you are. And I wish more and more people would do that. And then even if you go down there for a week, how long does it take to recover? Some people might take a week. Some people might take a couple of weeks. So if you got to get back to work to Amazon, is it really worth your life? I wish people would be more concerned about their life versus their appearance in regards to staying on this planet as long as they can. Because in some of those scenarios where those women were going down to the DR and unfortunately got killed, they had children.
Yeah, and absolutely, like you said, I mean, that's the other thing. There are quite a few people who do die as a result of BBL. Some die on the table. Some of the doctors maybe are not that experienced. Some of them have lost their licenses and things like that. So yes, it's a huge risk. And like you said, the United States is supposed to be regarded as, the medically superior. Although as Black people, we will say, maybe not so much. But if you're going down to the DR to have a procedure for $3,500, I would just think you might be it's crapshoot at that point that you would lie on somebody's table and allow them to do that to you. Like, cheaper ain't always better. Personally, if I was going to go get a procedure like that, money would not be a driving factor as much as I want to see your credentials. Let me see the work that you've done, because I would imagine you going and paying $3,500, you probably got a lopsided booty or something. So, you know what I mean? And those doctors are doing those procedures for $3,500. You just only imagine that they got to do quite a bit to make money. I don't see how they would
make that profit margin.
Yeah, I don't see how they would make money with $3,500 BBLs. They probably have to do 10 a day. And so if they're doing that and then some, they're rushing through your stuff, and then they're like, oh, well, that's a nice kidney. And that's another thing too, is just put this in the equation. They're doing $3,500 BBLs. They're not making a lot of money. They got somebody on the side say, you know what, these Black women coming from the United States, they stupid. They ain't gonna really know. We gotta, we gotta market for kidneys or organs, snatch one out. They ain't gonna know. And so to me, if I was a woman, especially a Black woman that went to the DR to have that, and I'm having some issues, I'd be like, did these mugs take a kidney from me? Like, you know what I mean? I would go to the doctor, and want to know, but it's I don't know. We just have to personally get out of that mindset. I mean, it costs some money to go to the DR, but to your point, it's a healing process. It takes months. People don't know that women and dudes, because there's be dudes getting BBLs too, that get these BBLs, they got to wear like these formers.
Body formers and shapers.
Yeah, for months in order to keep shape the body and keep the fat from going back. So it's a process that needs to be done. But again, you're not going to be able to bounce back in a week or two and go back to work. You should be off for like a month or two so that the stitches and everything heal and all of that. I understand it's a very painful process, but like you said, in regards to me, I mean, genetically speaking, I'm a little bit more on the blessed side of that, which is why I'm like, I couldn't imagine going and getting some more extra booty. And I don't have a big giant, not that I'm trying to tell you how I look, but I don't have no big giant booty or nothing like that. But I couldn't imagine going to get any more. I mean, for women, who have a little bit of something back there, you know how hard it is.
You don't want that bumblebee look, that ant look when you got the little. Okay.
But if you have a little bit of something already, you know how hard it is to, put on certain pants. And if you got a little thigh with it, pants ain't gonna always fit. And then if you got a booty, you got that gap in your pants between your back and your butt. So it's a lot going on. So, and the other thing too is a lot of women don't understand. You do. A lot of women don't understand. You got to get your clothes tailor made. They like the models that you see on Instagram. They're wearing clothes that are tailor made to fit their new bodies, right? And so, me personally,
which means more money being spent.
Yeah, you're spending more money to have that look, but then you raise the question: is who are you doing this for? Are you doing this for yourself? Are you doing this for men? And I would say, men. But see, men are duped as well. Because it started off in the Playboy magazines and, the television, y'all seeing these women who are maybe airbrushed or whatever. And so some women, because some women just don't care, they want to do it for themselves. But yeah, some women are trying to keep up with the expectations of men. Y'all think that every woman should have a big butt. Like I know a dude, he's like, I won't talk to a woman if she don't have a big butt. And it's like, what's behind the booty, dude? What's behind the booty? Like, is there something more to her besides the booty? So, and that's probably why you've been, batting 1,000 per se or 0 in the women department, because all you looking at is her booty, but you're looking at her behind, but you ain't looking at her mind. So, and like you said too, in California, I didn't see the BBLs as much in California as I do being in the South. In California, it's like, oh, well, that woman has a BBL and you might not see it all the time. But here it's everywhere. It's Walmart, it's Target, it's at the park, it's at the gym, it's everywhere. It's at the gas station. They're like everywhere. And so I don't know. I guess it's crazy to me, because the other thing is this. When you're 60, 70, 80, and you get frail, now you got this big old caboose wagging behind you, and your back is hurting and your hips are hurting, your knees is bad, and you got all that going on, but you got this big old giant saggy ant booty attached to your back. And I don't think they tell those women the ramifications of, well, when you get older, this is probably gonna hurt.
And then, you think about it like this, with the way the planes are designed now in the seating, Americans are bigger than they were in the 70s. Americans are getting big because we're eating more and all this other stuff, right? So when I was coming back from the DR, I couldn't help but notice some of the women that had BBLs, and I'm not talking about the ones that just got surgery, the ones that are just probably visiting or whatever, they couldn't even get into the seats. They were like, and it's like they're like sucked into the seat, and then they have to get out. It's like to get out of the seat. So, the ramifications of that long term, just think about the weight you're going to put on as it goes on and on and on. It's going to be, you can't sit in normal seats. It's like, you got to get this wide seat just to sit down to put all that rump and stump on. And then somebody asked me, they go, why isn't like strip clubs, big in California? Now, I'm just going to give you my soliloquy on that. As we know, you've got very famous clubs back east, King of Hearts and Magic City and Golden Key and, whatever. I read about these clubs. The Nasty Kitty, right. All these clubs that I read about. Now, here in California, and I was telling a friend of mine, based on economics, the clubs out here on the West Coast, to my understanding, Las Vegas. Think about it. You're in everybody goes to Las Vegas. There's no big booty black clubs in Las Vegas. There are none. It's all, lily white girl. Oh, I'm doing, small booty, whatever deals. Has anybody ever thought about why there's no, it's not really big out here on the West Coast? Because the mafia, whatever mafia it is, the underworld, they control the strip clubs here mostly on the West Coast. And you do not see black clubs, because you got to think about it like this. If there really was a black club, let's just say, we have a lot of sports teams here. Think about all the money a black-owned gentleman's club would make comparative to Larry Flint or Deja Vu or one of them, things like that. So that's never going to happen out here, because as soon as something like that comes up, it gets shot down. And, so for those guys that are listening are kind of wondering, how come, you go to the West Coast or someplace or on the east side or west side of the United States, there's really no big desire for that, because it's just not big out here. It's just something that, the mafia, they know that sisters would come over here, looking like that and make a lot of money, period.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. And of course, that's, I think, where it kind of originated, maybe, that look is in the strip clubs, and women everywhere now can afford to, I guess, to some degree, look like they had a BBL. And my thing is this too. When y'all going to get these BBLs, and listen, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm really trying to understand and really have a conversation about it. When y'all going to get these BBLs, are you asking them to make you look a certain way? Or, because some of these BBLs, I'm like, I wouldn't have paid for that. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay you for this. This is not what I don't know, unless they want that. Is it like the conversation is the bigger, the better? Like for me, I'm more interested in having a nice butt. Now, when I say a nice butt, I mean one that's toned, shapely, that's up a little bit, because I used to run track back in the day. So y'all know what I'm talking about, that nice, firm, track running booty. Of course,
yeah, I remember in high school when you used to run, Demetra used to live butt prints right behind her as she was running. It was butt prints, just straight up.
Not quite, but I'm saying a nice athletic booty. Now, everybody's not going to have an athletic booty, but it's like I would think the night, because back in the day, like you said, especially in the 80s, in the 90s, or whenever we was growing up, there were some people who had big booties, and it was natural. But then there's people just like, I want a nice butt. I don't want no big giant baller collar, that, and you know what I'm saying? It's just like, but that's the thing. And I like when I see them, my mouth is wide open, like, for real? You like that? Like I'm flat. So it's like, are you in pursuit of a nice butt, or do you just want a big giant booty that don't fit your body at all? And it's like, let me shut up, because I'm about to say something mean. I don't mean to.
Well, let me ask you this question. Because you've seen those bumblebee butts that I've been talking about, right? You see them in videos, especially in the DR. You see a few of them, and it's like everybody's got them. I've seen some really nice BBLs in the DR and other places, here in the United States. But I was at the casino in the DR, and I saw a girl come in with a wasp butt. It was like a wasp. It was really long, elongated. And I couldn't help but wonder in my mind, are her friends like telling her this is a botched job, or, you know what I mean? Because it didn't look natural at all. And, she's a fairly young woman. And I'm thinking, does she know that this really does not look that good? At least, well, to me, it doesn't. I don't know.
No, they think it looks good. And, looking good is honestly in the eye of the beholder. So if they like it, I guess we have to love it. It's not our bodies, right? Really can't tell people what to do. But my thing more than anything, more than even the looks, is what are the health implications to having that done? I mean, here we're talking about a woman who went to the DR and had her whole kidney snatched and did not know until she was having other health issues over here. And then her doctor had to tell her, hey, did you know you was missing a kidney? Like, what's really going on? And so you don't even know what these people are doing. And so again, I know that it costs quite a bit of money to have it done right. So I would say for any woman who's wanting to do that, and men, because again, you got your Saucy Santanas out there. For anybody who's wanting to have that done, save up some money, or I don't know, go if you really want to go finance something that is going to be by a credible person and it's going to have you looking, halfway decent. But I don't know. I'm flabbergasted at how, because like you hinted on something about the body dysmorphia earlier when we were talking. It is in some degree body dysmorphia, in that other people can see it and be like, yeah, something's wrong with your butt. But to them, they're like, no, this is great, and in some cases they go and even get more done. So
right, like little Kim, she was perfect. I could see the nose or a few things like that, but then she just turned into something totally different. And then we're not dissuading you to do what you're going to do anyway on this show.
It's your body.
Yeah, you can do whatever you like, but here's what I'm going to say. Just like when these women were getting injections in hotel rooms and getting cement in their butts and all that other stuff in the DR, if you're not getting the procedure done in a clinic, a clinic that has all the tools and stuff, please don't get the procedure done there. If the doctor's meeting you at your hotel, please do not get that procedure done there. Please, if you are not in a reputable medical clinic, even in a foreign country, you might want to think twice about getting that procedure done.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to somebody. I personally wouldn't go to another country to get it done simply because if something happened to me, I want to be where my primary doctor is, where they can care for me, and I wouldn't want to get stuck overseas, in a bad way, needing more medical attention. And so for me, if I was to ever get something done, and one time I started to get something done, it was a boob job, if you will. Trying to lift the girl.
It was a lift. It wasn't a boob job. Even though I told you would look great with G's, double G's.
No. I just wanted them to come up off the ground, But so I went and I did a consult, if you will. And as I was sitting in the lobby, I saw these women coming in, and it's like, in my mind, I'm like, well, what else could you be in here for? Because clearly you had a facelift, and it was, white women in there. Clearly you had a facelift. Your boobs are under your chin. So what else could you be getting done? And so then I got to thinking, okay, this could be very addicting. And a lot of people are addicted to the plastic surgery. So I did go in there and have a consultation. They said it was going to cost about 7 G's, to pull them up. And I'm like, damn, that's not even to put nothing up in there. He said, yeah. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? It is what it is. You know what I mean? Because no matter how much working out you do, gravity's done this thing. I mean, you can do improve them a little bit with workout, but I just decided to be happy with my body, and that I was not gonna go under the knife to try to do certain things to improve my body. I could do that in the gym or whatever, but I just saw it. It was like an epiphany. Like, yeah, this could become very addicting because when you stop, when you actually just accept it.
Right, exactly. And remember back in our day, some girls had a nice butt and had small breasts. But all they needed was the butt. You still attracted the men. You're a pretty girl.
That's the other thing too, though. You said all they needed is the butt, but it's like, to who? And I know you.
Yeah.
But to who did they need this butt for? Did they need a butt for themselves, or did they need a butt for somebody else? And let's say, as a woman, I go through all these procedures for a man, and let's say we don't work out.
Right.
We don't work out. Now I went under the knife to please somebody who was never going to be pleased with me, regardless of what size my butt is. So, I think at the end of the day, we should say, am I doing this? What are the reasons I'm doing this for? Am I doing it to keep up with the Instagram models? Am I doing this to impress a man? Am I doing this for myself? Or whatever. And first of all, am I healthy up here before I go lay on the table and have them operate on my body? I really think you have to be, because back in the day, though, they did used to administer therapy to see if this is something you wanted to do and why, so you can be in a sound mind. But now I guess they just like lay down and give me $3,500.
What I was saying is, like, back in the day, you had all sorts of women that had all sorts of things. Some women were blessed with both. Nice boobs, nice butt. Some women just had the butt and they had small boobs. But, because it was really based on, so-called how pretty you are. But back in the day, everybody matched up. There was a man for a woman and a woman for a man. So nobody really worried about what you can't get. You know, you had some girls that had big boobs and no butt, you know, and you still attracted men, you know what I mean? So it's subjective. But the thing is, you got to believe in yourself and love yourself first, because if you don't love yourself, hey, you know, that big butt, it sure is nice, but you know, I mean, what are the health repercussions? What are they injecting you with later on down the line? I mean, I know it's supposed to be body fat, but what if the body fat is tainted? You know, you don't know.
Absolutely, brother. So anyway, it's y'all thing. You can do what you want to do, but we just want to have a discussion about that. Be careful, kidneys and stuff coming up missing. That can't be good. Hopefully that sister ends up being okay, but I'd be pretty mad if one of my kidneys was gone and I didn't give it permission to be gone, you know?
And, you know, and I hope this is a last of stories we hear like this. I mean, no matter how many stories and warnings people put out in the new black media and content creators put out, women still and men still go down there and put their lives at risk.
Absolutely. So now we're going to transition. All right. So I hope that you guys are still here with us. We are going to play our date night game. It's called Tonight's Conversation. Find it very interesting. It actually belongs to my daughter. And again, y'all, we have ways to donate to the channel. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, become a member, like the video, subscribe, and all that. We love and appreciate you for that. So last week we played it. It was pretty interesting. So what I've done is I've picked 4 cards from the deck to discuss. I'm not really for sure. I just dropped one, but let me get it really quick. So 4 cards, and I'm going to shuffle them. And then, Donovan, I'll allow you to go first on this question. We're doing this just to kind of see where we are in regards to certain topics. Ready? I
am ready. But before we get to that, real quick, what did you think of Halloween Ends? Just real quick.
It was terrible, and I think they owe us a remake. I think they owe us a do-over.
I agree. Okay, let's get to it.
You ready? All right. Could you continue to be with someone who you're no longer physically attracted to? Why or why not?
Quick question. Am I married to that person or I'm not married to that person?
Let's say you're married.
Well, unfortunately, I'm one of those traditional people that once I'm married and I'm committed, that is not a good enough reason to leave my spouse. It was for good or bad, sickness and health, so on, so forth. So no, I would not leave if my person morphed into something that originally we didn't get married in, and you know, things happen.
So again, I'll repeat the question. Could you continue to be with someone who you're no longer physically attracted to? Why or why not? I think that I could. Let's say if we were married, I mean, we wouldn't have no choices for sickness and health and all that other stuff in between. And I don't really know because I only did it once, and you know, it was a sham from the beginning. So anyway, could I think we also need to just admit, yes, sometimes we become physically unattracted to people. It's just a fact, right? But I think also it comes with a level of maturity. So I'm going to say, yes, I could be. However, I need to know why they are physically unattractive. Did they just put on a bunch of weight? Somehow did they become ugly? I don't know. You know, whatever that is an eye to beholder. Maybe did they hygiene, dental hygiene wise? Did they lose their teeth? Did they got a bunch of cavities? Maybe they're balding, which is a part of life. Women bald too. So I would just have to know what the physical unattraction is. However, and then we kind of had this conversation a little bit with one of the other cards last week. If I was physically unattracted to somebody and it was something they could fix, I would do some sort of a gentle suggestion. Hey, honey, do you think? And maybe even a physical attraction, unattraction is, a lot of times people get comfortable in relationships and they don't dress up. You know, a lot of times, let's say from a woman's point of view, yeah, you dressed up when you're mad and you had your good brown, you know, it was hey. And now you're walking around the house, the things is touching your knees, they playing patty cake and stuff. And you got these moo-moo on and you got your bonnet, and Lord knows you probably ain't brushed your teeth in 2 days. And you're just used to it. And you're like, well, he's It's for better or worse, baby. He gonna have to take me. He know I'm fine with what I look like, and you ain't supposed to be. Nah, sis, you are supposed to be physically appealing to your man, because I hate to say it, and this ain't even me being a jerk. If you ain't physically appealing, listen, I'm gonna say this too, because I need to put this out there. No matter how well you dress for a man, if he gonna cheat, he gonna cheat. Okay, so I want to get that out the way. However, do not make that the reason why your man is looking elsewhere, or when he's driving up the driveway, he's like, nah, I know this booger bear ain't did nothing to herself. She got this funky hair bonnet on and all of that. And don't let that be the reason why your man starts to stray or to even look at you sideways. Take the time, do your hair, wash your face. How about this? Do you want better? Take a bath, take a whole bath, sis. Take a bath, put on some nice clean clothes. You ain't gotta walk around the house in no ball gown, but put on some nice clean clothes. You know by now, you know what your man like, especially if you've been together. If you know he like, especially if it's just y'all two, he like them little booty shorts you wear. Wear those, have a little smell good on, maybe a fresh face. You ain't got to have a whole face makeup, but look like you're happy to see him and that you cared about your appearance enough for him to say, damn, oh, that was a long 8 hours at work. I couldn't wait to get home to you. You know what I mean? Because a bathrobe and a moo ain't going to do it. But for me, as from a man's point of view, if he was doing the same thing, yeah, honey, them holy boxers with the skid mark in them, I don't want to see that. That turns me off.
Yeah, not the skid mark, that long enduring stain that keeps staying in there. You can't get it out.
Now we don't throw those away, boo-boo.
Yeah, but like you said, I think your dad said that. If I'm working all day, Sarah, who I work with, or somebody in the mail room, she's smelling good, got her hair done, looking good, and I know when I get home what I'm going to be dealing with. And I'm not making an excuse for men why we stray, but that could be a reason why you're like, hey, I'd rather spend, have a couple of drinks over here rather than go home and deal with Matilda.
It had to be Matilda. No shade to Matilda. I think Matilda is a beautiful name. Y'all forgive me. I'm sweating. I'm going through the change of life. And so sometimes that kind of stuff happens. But yeah, so physically unattractive, I think there's ways that you can become that. But the other thing too is some people could be not attracted to you because of your attitude, and it may be mistaken that as a physical thing, but it could actually be an attitude. Like, this person has a sucky attitude, I don't like them, and to them, you become physically unattractive. So let's put that out there. Okay, let's move on to the next question. How you doing, Donovan? All right.
Let's do it.
Have you ever cheated? If not, what's the closest you've ever came to cheating?
Okay, I got the first one. You go ahead and answer this one first.
Have I ever cheated? And the answer is no. I've never cheated. I just don't see the value in that. I would rather cut ties with somebody before I do that, because for one thing, I don't think people really understand the act of cheating. I really don't. I don't think people understand what that entails. Because a lot of times when we think of somebody cheating, we think, oh, they just did it missionary, right? They're like 2 minutes and it's over, right? But no, it's a lot more involved in cheating. You're doing some things with your mouth and that and this, that, and the other. So for me personally, no, I wouldn't be able to cheat, because I don't want to come home and do that same thing to my man. It's just nasty to me, right? And also, I think cheating is also more about the mental than it is the physical. And the other thing too is, with cheating back in the day, I don't know, maybe not so much back in the day, but cheating is supposed to be a day, one time or two. Now people are getting in full-fledged relationships, and so it's not cheating, it's actually you're building other relationships. So no, I've never done it. The closest I ever came close to cheating, or what's the closest I've ever come to cheating? I will say this in all honesty: when my daughter's father and I were together, and my daughter's father, he was a doozy. I ain't gonna lie, right? He was a lot. And I mean, when collect calling was fashionable, he had some chick that he met at the club named Red. I'll never forget. Called collect, talking about, can I speak to Andre? I'm like, well, collect call from Red, and they'll speak to Andre. And I was like, do you know what I read? And he was like, give me the phone. And they talked and everything, right? So it was a lot of that going on. And it was this guy that I knew in college. so fine. Anyway, I connected back with him and we were talking and he's like, come over. And I was like, I just had this baby type of thing. And I could have. So that was the closest I did. And I ain't gonna lie, in college with no kids, you just doing your thing, And so I was thinking about back down memory lane and things. I was like, no, I better not because I'm sure I'm gonna regret that. And so I never did. But I would say that was probably the closest I came to doing it. Very, very close. And maybe I would have been within my rights. Donovan?
All right. Are you guys ready? If you guys are watching this video, I want you to raise the volume because this is very important. Every man has cheated. I can only speak for the men. Why do I say that, Demetra? Now, for me, I've never cheated physically. When I commit in my relationships, I'm old-fashioned type guy. Physically, I've never cheated. But I have looked at other women and lusted for them in my mind. And
is that really cheating, though?
Well, to some people, it is because what it is, okay, let's say like Halle Berry. I'm married at the time. And, I'm just like, man, this girl is, who it is or whatever. The lights go out with my wife or, girlfriend, whatever. I'm thinking of Halle Berry. So, depending on how you look at it, it is cheating. And, I'm not a Bible scholar, but isn't it in the Bible that says that when you lust on sight or something like that, it's a form of sin? Yeah. So, and I know, and like I said, please don't take what I believe as your belief. I mean, everybody believes different, but I actually believe that if you lust after a person and you're in a relationship, that's cheating. That's what I believe. Physically, I've never cheated when I'm in a relationship physically, but I've cheated mentally.
Yeah, so I guess it depends. Yeah, if you really lusting, it's a different story. If you see somebody like, oh wow, well he's nice looking, that's a different story. But if you're like, damn, oh, I wonder what it's like. Yeah, that's a different story because now your focus is off of who you're with, and it's with
porn.
Somebody.
If you watch porn, things like that,
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, no, I've never cheated. Ever thought about it? Yeah, I thought about it a couple times, but it was brief.
I used to think about it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people do. Like, you know what, this person's getting on my damn nerves, type of thing. But I'm not the type of person that would ever go through with it. I will say though, when I was younger, I had, I don't want to say it was two boyfriends, and I know I'm freezing up, so y'all excuse me. It wasn't two boyfriends necessarily. It was just, two people I was entertaining, sort of, kind of. And not like that though. And then I thought about it. I was like, I couldn't cheat because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work saying, okay, I'm gonna come hang out with you. And then, all right, I'm gonna come hang out with you. It's like, nah. So at 19, I already knew. I was like, nah, this double dutching with dudes and going, nah, I already knew that wasn't for me because I'm like, that's a lot of work to have to put up with that. And I felt stressed as a 19-year-old. I was stressed out a lot. And so,
and then you're conflicted. Your mind is conflicted. Do I really like this guy or girl versus this girl? You're trying to juggle, and it's especially when you're young.
Yeah, it stressed me out. And I didn't want to be stressed out trying to, do all of that. So my hat's off to anybody who does that. And in my 50s, I just couldn't imagine doing it now. So anyway, let's move right along. What's your view on gender roles in a relationship?
I am glad you asked that because I happen to be an expert on gender roles. I say this all the time to you ladies out there, and I love you guys to death. This feminism is bullshit. It is straight bull. Who are you women to set aside what God has put into place? God has specifically, if you're a Christian, I can't speak for the other religions. If you're a Christian, God has specifically put man in a role and woman in a role. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
What's your views on gender roles in a relationship? I'm one of those people, and I tell y'all my age all the time. I'm 51. So I come from that generation that was probably on the tail end of women and men having gender roles. I watched my parents participate in gender roles. I watched my grandparents participate in gender roles. Now, when I say gender roles, I saw the women cooking, cleaning, maintaining the household and the children, those type of things, what people back then would consider women's roles. And I saw my grandfathers and my grandmothers, or my grandfathers and my father, they went to work, made the money, brought it home. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So I saw that. And so same thing with my grandmother and, grandfather, I saw that. And so that's what I learned. And so I will say this for me personally, I also do that in relationships. I like the gender roles. I like the line of demarcation, if you will. Stay out of my kitchen, honey. Stay out of my kitchen. Because I'm one of those people from the old school too, that I like my kitchen a certain way. I don't really like too many people delving in there because you ain't gonna clean it right and all that other stuff. So you stay out of my kitchen. Put your dirty clothes in the hamper. I got that because I know what I want to put in the washing machine and how I want the clothes to smell and be fluffy. I'm gonna fold them up. Don't do none of that. I don't want you to do none of that. I don't want you nothing. I don't want you to clean the house. Not that I don't think you can. If you want to, great, but I will do that. Now I want you to do the things that I think men should do. I want you to fix stuff around the house. I want you to take the trash out. I want you to do all of that. And again, gender roles, as far as for me as a woman, making sure when the man comes home, that he comes home to a peaceful environment. The house is not a mess and a lot of noise and stuff going on, because I know that he has been out in the world working, dealing with a lot of stuff. So when he comes home, I want his house to be his castle in every way, shape, and form. When he comes home, he's got something to eat. It ain't, oh, well, damn, I didn't know you was coming home right now. Well, he gonna open the door. It's gonna be some aromas smelling good. He gonna be like, oh, damn, what you cook? I cooked you some chicken, a cabbage, potato, whatever. It's some, you go eat. But what I want you to do, go take a shower and all that other stuff. You get yourself together. I'm gonna
knock your socks off later on.
I wish. But listen, I'm gonna bring your plate to you. And you, so baby, what you drinking? You want some water? Would you like some soda? Whatever. Oh, okay, I got you. Just go on and get yourself together. I'm gonna bring it in here to you. Whatever you want. And then when you're done, I'm gonna come get your plate. I'm gonna want. You ain't like, you don't even, you good, right? Because that is my pleasure. I don't have a problem doing that. So I believe in gender roles. I really do. But I know nowadays we have gotten to the point in society to where it's like a bad word. If you say that, and I would say especially to a lot of women, they've been taught that, what's wrong with him? I've had to have conversations with a lot of younger women. I'm like, I can't tell you what to do in your relationship, but if you asking me, what's the big deal? Like somebody I'm very close to was complaining that, because she stays at home with their child, that when he's off, the man is off. Why do I gotta cook? He expects for me to cook and he expects me to do that. I said, well, do you expect for him to go out there and work and come on and pay these bills? She said, yeah. I said, it don't matter if he's off. You think he want to be off, come home and then have to clean up and cook and stuff on his day off? I said, it should be your pleasure to take care of this man, that because he's taking care of you. I said, you ain't missing no meals. You don't have to go and bust a hustle and go out there and get it. So I said, you should really be ashamed of yourself that you're complaining about that. I said, because there's a lot of girls, she's younger than me, but there's a lot of girls your age who ain't benefiting from a man who's working, got a good job, taking care of you and your child. Y'all don't want for nothing, and you complaining about him wanting you to cook. So I come from that generation to where women were like, this is what I do, and men were like, this is what I do, and then we get along great.
We're in a technological age where everything can be apped and everything's paid automatically. But fellas, it's football season right now. How does it feel to come home and you open your icebox and your favorite cool drink is in there? Full 6-pack, full 8-pack every Sunday. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. It's just there. You open it up and it's just in there. You know what I mean? Those are the things that things like that. Ladies, how does it feel when you've been driving your car, and Demetra knows because we come from the same area. You're in the desert and they've got this dust that's constantly in the air and it's on your car and it rains and it leaves little dots on your car. Ladies, how does it feel that you ain't got to worry about your car being detailed and spending $80 to give it to some other corporation or a car washing machine when you look out that window and you see your man putting that nice coating wax on top of your car and then changing that oil and, he's doing that man stuff and you didn't even have to ask him. Because ladies, and gentlemen, it's a give and take. Everybody has a role. I do a certain thing and then you do a certain thing. To me, it is ridiculous for me to sit in my house and I have a woman that's out there doing the things I should be doing. Now, I can't remember how to do everything. But let's say my wife or girlfriend says, oh, I dropped something in the trash. I don't want my woman putting her hands in some nasty ass trash. Donovan, I dropped my thing in the trash. Could you go get it for me? Yeah, baby, hold on. When the commercial comes on, I'm handling that. There's nothing wrong with it. Like you said, they make it seem like it's a bad word. Fellas, I was raised, I go to work. Hey, baby, here's my check. Honey, I'm getting ready to go over here. I need $50. She goes like this. And she pops my $50 out. I don't have to worry about the finances because I'm so busy out there, like you said, going to get it. The little things that I shouldn't have to worry about, I shouldn't have to worry about. But at the same time, though, it feels so good when a woman says, Donovan, I need you to do this in the backyard. I need you to fix this. I need you to work on this because I feel needed. I feel wanted in the relationship. But when you let me sit there, and not that I play PlayStation, but when I see these young men that just play PlayStation and the women are they're afraid to say something to the dude. No, the one thing you should be saying to the dude, you need to help me get the hell up out of my house if you're going to be doing all that, because I know there's a lot of chores around here that need to be fixing. And this is another reason why a lot of us are being denied housing, because we have this reputation of tearing the house up or not upkeeping the homes. And people don't want to rent to us because us as men, we're not doing our roles. Like I said, Demetra could do a lot of stuff by herself, but Demetra in some of her relationships, and she will tell you, she found out that she had to pull back and let a man just be a man.
Absolutely. And it's always a work in progress, But the other thing too, I would say, as with gender roles, I was the type of person that's like, shoot, I know my man needs some new clothes. I know he needs some shirts. I know he needs some boxers, some pants. So I would do that. If I'm out in the store, I'm gonna buy him a nice little shirt or freshen up his wardrobe and all that stuff. Like, I enjoyed that. Give him a little smell good. But you know what I mean? So I didn't have a problem with that because I know that my man is only going to be as good as I am, and vice versa. And one of the only things that I really love for my man to do is every once in a while bring me some flowers. I like flowers. Bring me some flowers. You ain't got to do it every day or every week, but every once in a while, bring me some flowers. I love fresh flowers. Men don't do that kind of stuff anymore. And I won't say they don't, but some of them, they a lot of them don't. Not like they used to back in the day. Bring a woman, or it ain't even got to be no $200 bouquet of flowers.
Yeah, just because.
Yeah. So that's what I like. So this last question here is, what is your ultimate relationship deal breaker? You want me to answer? My ultimate relationship deal breaker. That's a good one, because some people will say infidelity. I don't think that's always a deal breaker, but a deal breaker for me, obviously, if somebody was to put their hands on me, it's like, yeah, you do it once, you're probably gonna do it again. I would say that's a definite deal breaker. But I would say outside of the infidelity, because a person can be participating in infidelity maybe once or twice, but if you formed a relationship with somebody, and then now with the inception of social media, you have people who are just carrying on relationships with people in the inboxes and they flirting and stuff all the time. I mean, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that because, for one, if you flirting with people on the internet and all that, you're clearly not into me to the point of not wanting to do that. And you don't really have respect and you're still chasing. And so for me, I think one of the ultimate deal breakers, obviously somebody putting their hands on me and a man that's continuing to chase. Now, a lot of times, like you said, chasing doesn't always have to be physical, where you're chasing women and you sleeping with them, but it can be chasing and always having the need to be validated by women on the internet, the people you don't know to tell you how fine you are, you just this and kiki and ha ha, all of that. Now, I don't ever want to be with a man like that who cannot get enough of fake validation. If I don't do it for you, then you need to go and be with somebody who does. But I will say this, if you are a person that needs constant validation from the internet, then stay out of relationships with people. Your relationship is with the internet. You don't have any business engaging in a one-on-one relationship with somebody who thinks that you are going to do that. It's have a continuous relationship with the internet where you can get your thrills and frills and all of that from different people. There's nothing wrong with that because it ain't the person you're with, it's you. You don't feel good about yourself, so you feel like you need to have this fake validation. So that would be a deal breaker for me. And I'm speaking from wisdom and experience. And I've had a few relationships like that with men who are just could not stay their asses out of women's inboxes and flirting on the timelines. I never want to be involved in a relationship. So that like that would definitely be a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. Okay. So could we read the question one more time?
What is your ultimate relationship deal breaker?
Ultimate relationship deal breaker, ladies. This is my biggest thing. I can deal with the cheating because everybody makes a mistake. Accountability. Being accountable for what.
I thought you was going to say weaves.
No. You know what? Now that you brought it to my mind, no. In a relationship, the biggest thing is accountability. Male and female, but I'm speaking in relationship that I would be in, a woman that does not take accountability for what she does. Yeah, okay, we've been married for 12 years. And we got kids, we got the whole thing, right? People fall short. I can deal with the infidelity. I could deal with that and maybe work through it. I can give that a try. It's when you don't want to be accountable for the actions that you do. Because if I'm held to accountable to a certain standard, I want you to be held to a standard also. But in society today, and you're hearing on a lot of platforms, and you see it all the time, especially our women that I've seen, this is my opinion, our women, they don't want to take accountability for what they do in their relationships. They won't take accountability for the type of men that they pick and they choose. Men, we don't want to take accountability for the type of women we choose. How are you going to want to make a housewife out of a chick that you met in the strip club? You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. Demetra says this all the time. Older men complain about their partners or whatever. Well, golly, you're 56, she's 23. You know what I mean? So accountability is the biggest thing that I would say in my relationship that's a deal breaker for me.
Sounds good. So we actually made it on time. So anyway, y'all, we love and appreciate y'all for being here as always. I hope that you guys learned something from this. We'll be back on Wednesday with Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. That will be a live conversation. So please come back for that when we'll talk about money strategies. And you know, it's always a good time. We're not crunching numbers or anything. We're really having a spirited conversation about things that are trending in the community and how we can make it better financially for our community and for ourselves. So Donovan, thank you so much for being here. YouTube, thank y'all so much. And Twitter, I think y'all see this, and maybe Facebook. We'll love and appreciate you. We have ways to donate. Get in here at the bottom, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Become a member, like, subscribe, and all the good things in the middle. So we will see y'all later. Until then, peace.